In a moment that stunned viewers and instantly went viral across social media, Prince Harry stormed off the set of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert after a fiery, unscripted exchange that turned personal, tense, and ultimately uncontainable. What was meant to be a light-hearted promotional appearance quickly descended into one of the most talked-about celebrity television moments of the year. The calm before the storm. The evening began like any other star-studded episode of The Late Show. Prince Harry was introduced to loud applause, entering in a tailored navy suit, offering a warm wave to the crowd. He was there to promote his latest humanitarian initiative tied to mental health and veterans affairs. The prince had made several such appearances in recent months, navigating a delicate PR campaign to rebrand himself away from the tabloid frenzy that had long defined his public image. The initial few minutes of the interview were as expected: jokes about American culture, casual banter about life in California with Meghan Markle, and a few rehearsed anecdotes. Colbert, known for his sharp wit and ability to pivot from humor to seriousness with finesse, seemed to keep things under control, at first. But just 12 minutes into the segment, the energy in the studio shifted. The trigger point. The change came when Colbert brought up Spare, Prince Harry's memoir, and referenced a particularly controversial excerpt involving Harry's relationship with the royal family and the media. "I have to ask," Colbert began, holding the book in his hands, "do you ever feel that writing this, laying it all out like this, may have done more harm than good to your family relationships?" Harry's demeanor stiffened. "I wrote the truth," he replied curtly. "And sometimes the truth makes people uncomfortable." Colbert, sensing tension, smiled politely but continued probing. "There are critics who say you've traded royal duty for Netflix deals and Oprah interviews. Some even call it hypocrisy, leaving the spotlight only to jump into a different one. What do you say to that?" That question clearly struck a nerve. Harry leaned forward, his voice growing firmer. "You have no idea what it's like to live under constant scrutiny since birth," he snapped. Walking away wasn't hypocrisy. It was survival. The argument escalates. Colbert tried to temper the mood. "Of course, and I don't mean to trivialize your experience," he said. "But some people wonder, are you still trying to have it both ways? Royal privacy with Hollywood fame." "I'm not here to be dissected," Harry fired back, his tone icy. "This isn't a trial." There was a noticeable murmur in the studio audience. The tension was now palpable, the mood starkly different from the show's usual comedic vibe. Colbert, visibly taken aback, tried to soften the blow. "Harry, my intention isn't to put you on trial." "Then don't frame your questions like a prosecutor," Harry interrupted. "You invited me here to talk about mental health and veterans, but instead we're back to the same tabloid narratives." At this point, even the producers backstage appeared flustered. The teleprompter had been abandoned. The show had gone completely off script. The breaking point. Colbert made one final attempt to de-escalate. "I respect your cause and your service, truly," he said. "But don't you think your message gets lost in all the noise when you walk out of royal life only to enter the Netflix spotlight?" Harry paused. Then, slowly, he stood up from his chair. "You know what gets lost," he said, looking Colbert directly in the eyes. "Decency. Empathy. Everything this circus has stripped away from people like me." With that, he removed his microphone, tossed it onto the chair, and walked off the stage without another word. The audience gasped, some audibly muttering in disbelief. Colbert sat frozen for a moment before turning to the camera. "Well, that escalated quickly," he said, attempting a nervous smile. "We'll be right back." The screen cut to commercial. Immediate fallout and viral explosion. Within minutes, clips of the dramatic exit began circulating online. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube were flooded with hashtags like #HarryStormsOff, #ColbertClash, and #RoyalMeltdown. The footage hit over 50 million views within the first 24 hours. Opinions split quickly and fiercely. Supporters of Harry praised his composure and called the interview a media trap. They accused Colbert of baiting the prince into a confrontation under the guise of humor and curiosity. "Harry's been through hell," one Twitter user wrote. "This isn't journalism, it's spectacle." Others, however, viewed the incident differently. "Colbert asked fair questions," a prominent journalist tweeted. "Harry wants the fame without the questions. You can't have it both ways." Media watchdog groups also chimed in, debating where the line should be drawn between public accountability and personal trauma. Behind-the-scenes reaction. According to anonymous sources from the show's production team, there had been disagreements even before the segment aired. Harry's team reportedly requested a list of pre-approved questions, including strict limits around discussions of the British royal family, past scandals, or Meghan Markle. While Colbert's producers agreed in principle, the host made clear in private that he would not let the conversation be entirely scripted. He didn't ambush Harry, said one source. But he also wasn't going to be muzzled. That's not how he works. Harry's team, on the other hand, felt blindsided. They exploited the appearance for ratings, an insider close to Harry stated. He came on to speak about real issues and instead got blindsided by a cleverly veiled tabloid cross-examination. Royal Palace and Meghan's silence. Interestingly, Buckingham Palace issued a rare non-statement, declining to comment on the matter. This itself sparked speculation. Was the firm secretly pleased to see Harry falter? Or were they simply distancing themselves from what many in the UK media described as an embarrassing, predictable implosion? Meghan Markle, meanwhile, remained publicly silent. A source close to her told The Guardian she was deeply upset by how the interview was handled, and had encouraged Harry not to do it in the first place. The couple was reportedly scheduled for another media appearance later that week, which has since been postponed indefinitely. Colbert addresses the incident. The next night on his show, Colbert addressed the elephant in the room with a solemn tone unusual for the late-night comedian. "I want to take a moment to talk about last night's interview with Prince Harry," he said. "It was never my intention to provoke or distress him. I regret that the conversation went where it did, but I stand by the right to ask difficult questions, especially when the person is trying to change the public narrative." He added, "We wish Prince Harry and his family peace and privacy, two things he's been loudly and painfully denied for most of his life." Some applauded Colbert's professionalism, others called it a half-apology. What's next for Prince Harry? In the aftermath of the dramatic walk-off, Prince Harry has cancelled several upcoming media appearances. His team released a brief statement 3 days later. Greater than, Prince Harry remains committed to his causes, particularly those supporting veterans and mental health. He will continue to speak his truth in environments that foster respectful, honest dialogue, not provocation. Analysts are now questioning whether this incident will mark a turning point in how Harry engages with the media, or if it will deepen the divide between him and a public increasingly skeptical of his media strategy. Some speculate he may retreat entirely from high-profile interviews. Others believe this only strengthens his image as someone willing to stand up to what he sees as hypocrisy in media culture. Final thoughts. What was supposed to be a straightforward television appearance ended in a viral firestorm. Whether you see it as a justified walkout or an overreaction, one thing is clear: Prince Harry's relationship with the media remains as complex and combustible as ever. And as with so many stories involving the royal renegade, the world can't seem to look away.